Hello friends. For a fun experiment, I decided to see how many random games I could purchase for $3. Rather than go out and buy an official bundle from Humble Bundle, Fanatical, or other merchant, I hit up the Indie Game subreddit. If you're not familiar with this subreddit, it's a place for people to buy, sell, and trade game keys. Most of the time, these keys come from bundles like the Humble Bundle Monthly. For example, if I purchase a game bundle, but I only want one specific game in the bundle, yet it comes with two other games, I can use this Indie Game subreddit to trade or sell the two unwanted games. People trading on here typically know what games are worth. You're not going to find someone trading a new AAA game for a dollar indie game. I browsed the subreddit until I found someone selling a lot of keys. The user was King Z, as I knew he would be the kind of person who most likely had spare keys to unload, especially bad games that nobody wants. I posted my offer of $3 if he would provide me with a random assortment of games that he didn't want. King Z made sure I knew what I was asking for, and once I assured him that I'm not crazy, he sold me 14 games for the cost of $3. Join me now as we take a look at a few of these random games to see if there's any treasure among the trash.
You have to understand, everything was wonderful. I was creating the future. Metal dogs that didn't poop. I even cured walking.
The first game is a virus named Tom. This is a puzzle game where you control a computer virus with the intent of getting revenge for the firing of its mastermind inventor. Each level is a maze of circuits where the virus flips the circuit around so that they form a complete electrical path. The virus can only move in 4 directions along a grid. Each level has a time limit based on a constant draining power supply for the virus. Other threats on the map can drain the virus power level as well. I was on board for the first few levels, but soon this twist was thrown in that you can't see the path for the circuit until you've completely circled around it and made a complete path. This means there is some guesswork thrown into the logic of completing the circuit. Maybe guesswork isn't the correct way to say it, but a better word would be busy work. The game is fun, but not necessarily compelling. The graphics and music are fairly blah. This game did get good Steam reviews citing fun co-op play, which I didn't test with anyone, so it might be worth more to somebody else, but for me, I'd rate this game at about 50 cents. Next up is Ballistic. This is an amped up version of something you would have seen back in the 2000s on Newgrounds. You control a stick figure fighting his way through multiple levels of 2D buildings. There are 2 difficulties that offer a distinct difference in gameplay. The standard difficulty requires multiple button combinations for most actions. For example, to fire your heavy weapon requires the following actions: Y to switch to your gun, B to turn the safety off, right trigger to shoot, X to reload, and then it can be a random combination of buttons to figure out which clip you want to put in. Pretty much every button on the controller is used for some function. As the later levels progress, learning all the correct buttons to perform an action is imperative. There's an easy mode which vastly reduces the number of buttons needed. Using the easy mode reduces the game to not much more than a simple flash browser game, so I wouldn't recommend it. Each level is a set number of enemies to kill and security traps to bypass. Before each level, there is a summary of objectives you need to complete, but simply playing through the level, you'll almost always get all the objectives done. The only time the summary is important if it calls out a win condition for the level, such as being stealth the entire time. The stealth mechanics are pretty basic by today's standards. Avoid line of sight with the guards by moving when their backs are turned or by tunneling under them. Cameras have to be avoided by moving past them when they are turned and looking the other way. Levels with stealth as a requirement require restarting all the way over if you're spotted. I am not a fan of stealth games that are punishing like that, as oftentimes when you're redoing a level, there's a lot of standing around waiting for an opportunity to move. Doors can be seen through to see what enemies are waiting on the other side. When taking a less stealthy approach, furniture and other office items can be used for cover. There are gadgets to use and throwable objects like grenades. Like weapons, they have a series of button presses that you have to use to activate them. Levels also include body armor so that you can take a few hits before dying. Graphics are as good as they can be for stick figures. Office buildings and furniture are 2D and bare bones with color, but to be fair, it would be a stark contrast to have these beautiful backgrounds and then contrast it with a stick figure on top. Sound is pretty bare. There are gun sounds that are loud and they have a punch, which helps add to it. This would be a good game to play on an older PC. It would also be a recommendation for anyone who played those games back in the 2000s and have nostalgia for that type of game. I'd rate this game at around the 50-cent mark. Out of the $3 I've spent, I've got what is worth about $1 so far. If you enjoyed the video, tune in next time to see if there are any other games in here that can help me break even on my experiment.